how to find and wholesale pre-foreclosures. Guys, it's Rick Ginn here with Flip with Rick, and do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the absolute best free up-to-date information, pre-foreclosures. I've been doing them for 19 years plus, and in today's market, I still do them, and I think it's a wonderful opportunity to get started in wholesaling and really help people out and get the best deal possible. Let's talk about it. What is pre-foreclosure? Rick, how can I have a pre before the foreclosure? Guys, really, really simple. I'm just going to boil this down for you, okay? A pre-foreclosure is basically any homeowner that has a mortgage that has not made a payment for anywhere from 1 month to 3 months. That basically puts them in a pre-foreclosure status. Sometimes people tell you there's a pre-foreclosure. I don't really believe in that. That means they're just late on 1 month. And if you want, you could buy like a delinquent credit card list and stuff like that. I find those people really do not pay attention to you at all. What happens after 3 late payments? Well, typically the bank, which is servicing the mortgage, will send out a very what we call a not so friendly letter to the homeowner. And basically they're going to tell them, listen, you're behind. And if you don't catch up and make these payments, we're going to go ahead and move forward and file a lawsuit to take the property back and strip you of your property. And guys, this is the point where a lot of homeowners go, oh my God, what do I do? It really just, it scares the heck out of them, just to say it nicely. This is the spot where you can actually help the homeowner out the most, in my opinion. Now, if they don't make that payment and it goes past 3 months and they skip this demand letter from the bank, the next letter they're going to get typically is going to be from an attorney. And typically, depending on what your state is, remember, all states are a little bit different. I'm not getting into the legalities of it, is the bank can file a lawsuit to go ahead and foreclose on the property, also known as a lis pendens. And once that happens, a lawsuit is initiated. Typically, in most states, you have 20 days to respond, and then the bank goes through their attorney through whatever court process they have, and it can be anywhere from 90 days to a year to do a foreclosure. Now, some states are much more aggressive. They get it done within the 90 days. Here in Florida, it typically takes a year plus. I've seen these things drag out 7 years. It's crazy how it works. Let's talk about number one. How do you find these pre-foreclosures? Guys, it's really, really simple. Just go to listrei.com. They have the tabs already in there for pre-foreclosures. And in my opinion, it's the fastest way to get leads to contact these people. So you're saying, Rick, is that the only way to get pre-foreclosures? No. If you want, you go down your courthouses. You can go to each county and pull them up, and you can get this list. Now, I'll warn you, these people get a lot of traffic. Your wholesalers aren't the only ones after them. Realtors are after them. Property management companies, you name it, everybody's after them. I'm not here to tell you in this video what marketing vehicle to contact them. SMS, phone calls, letters, door packages. I will tell you, you're going to have to be extremely persistent. But what I'm going to do is share in this video. I'm going to teach you how you can actually wholesale these properties. And I'm going to teach you how to differentiate yourself from every other investor. Because here's what most investors do. They just want to cut to the chase and buy the property. And in reality, they're not really solving the homeowner's problems. So I'm going to walk you through what I do and how I teach my staff how to connect with any home seller that's in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure, so you get the absolute best deal, and in the end, they're going to wind up using you. The biggest problem is when the average wholesaler goes and meets with somebody in pre-foreclosure, they're so quick to get to that contract, they skip evaluating the problem. There's so much that goes on in pre-foreclosure, and I'm going to teach you step by step on how to walk through it and how to get a quality conversation so you stand out above the rest. So let's dive into it. So the main thing I want you to focus and understand is pre-foreclosure is the homeowners know they missed their payment. They don't need you to tell them that, okay? So when you connect with them, you have to be on their side. They are scared. End of story, guys. And if you've ever been scared, it's not a fun feeling. They're frightened, they're confused, and they're going to wrap you up in that. You have to immediately let them know, I'm on your side. I want to help you out. And what we're going to do is walk them through a process. Now, as I said, most wholesalers, most investors just get right into it. How much can I buy the property for? You have no idea if you can even get a deal until you go through the process of understanding where they are in the pre-foreclosure. Yes, it would be so nice if they just said, hey, I'm behind 6 payments. I owe $7,000 and it's going to cost this to reinstate it. And here's how much equity I have. No, they're not going to give that stuff to a stranger. And like 9 times out of 10, the homeowner doesn't even know where they stand. They are scared. They're getting nasty letters. People are knocking on their doors. You have to be their savior. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to pull the story out of the seller in pre-foreclosure. Well, Rick, how do I pull the story out? They're not just going to give it to you. You have to walk them down the aisle. So let me show you how to do it. Now, I'm going to give you 4 or 5 suggestions you make to them, understanding you are using these questions to pull that information of what their story is. If there's equity in the property, can it get a cash offer? Can I do a subject to whatever needs to be done? Here's how you're going to start the conversation, okay? Number 1, remember, the whole point of going through this process is to build rapport, extract the information so you don't embarrass them. And number 3, really show that you're trying to help them out and trying to create value for them. The first one we're going to say to them is basically, they're obviously behind in payments. Is the easiest way to rectify as a foreclosure is what? Go ahead and make the payments. Now, you already know if they had the money, they'd probably go ahead and make the payments. Here's what you suggest. Have you ever considered just getting like private loan from your family or somebody to help you bridge the gap? Then they're going to start going into details why they can't depend on their family, and they've already tried that. Understanding less than 5% of the people ever take this option, and if they do, it's usually temporary. Within 3 to 6 months, they're right back in that situation. Here's the secret to talking to people pre-foreclosure. Most of the time, you already know the general answers to it, but you have to let them tell you it. Let them tell you their story. Their story is how you're going to connect with them, how you're going to separate yourself, building rapport, and how you're not going to be just your average investor. You actually want to help them out. And here's what I tell everybody, Mr. Seller, is I'm going to do everything in my power to help you out of this situation, even if I can't buy your house. And I find out just by starting out with that opening line takes a huge weight off the seller's shoulder. And it allows you to have an open conversation with them. So number 1, hey, did you ever thought about just getting like a private loan from a family to help you get caught up? Listen, obviously they probably would have done that if that was available to them. Okay, well, let's problem solve. Let me think about this. Why not just list the property and sell it? Now, listen, I don't want them to list the property, but you might as well just get it out of the way, because I promise you at some point they're thinking about it, or they're thinking about talking to a realtor. So throw it out there. Guys, the more you walk them through the alternatives they can do, the more you can walk them to why you're going to be the best fit. Mr. Seller, you ever thought about just listing the property and moving on? Now, this is where they're going to reveal more information. Well, it's 6%, and I'm getting all these nasty notices, and my house is a little bit run down. It's embarrassing. And I did talk to one realtor, and they said I have to bring like $15,000 to the closing table. Okay, bingo. Whatever. If you want to memorize it, write it down. I already found out now they don't have a lot of equity in it. The house has issues. Maybe it's not going to pass an inspection. You can ask about what's going on with the house from there. You can open up a whole bridge of questions. These questions, you're trying to help them. It's like when you have so if you have a problem, like say you go to your parents, like, how do I figure this out? And your parents walk you through. A good parent will walk you through. Hey, have you tried this? Have you tried that? You're doing the same thing. Stop rushing to people and saying, hey, listen, how much will you take for an all cash offer for a quick close? It doesn't work in pre-foreclosure. You're not solving any problems by doing that. You need to get their story, guys. Take their time. So we've talked about, hey, can you get someone just to help you out make the payments? Number 2, you ever thought about listing it? So the third one they go to is, you ever thought, as the bank offered to do a loan modification for you? Now, why am I throwing this out there? It seems like it's working against me. Listen, if they want to do a loan mod, they don't need your permission to do it. And I promise you, the bank's already going to offer them that solution. Here's what you need to understand on loan mods. 65% of loan mods fail. They fail because all they are is putting principal on the back end plus late payments and interest. And the bank knows they're going to fail. It's a quick fix. So if you can't afford the payment now, you're probably not going to be able to afford it in a few months down the road. And the minute they break the terms of a loan mod, so a loan mod is short for loan modification, and it allows the bank to basically reorganize the loan. So if they had a $150,000 loan and say they're $10,000 behind, they'll make it like 160 plus penalties and everything. And then instead of a 30-year loan, they can stretch it out to 40 years. It's not going to be good for them in the long run. Now, why I'm telling you this is I'm not working against you. It's already out there. You're going to be the only investor that offers this solution to them. And you know it has a high failure rate. A lot of my pre-foreclosures come back to me 3, 4, 5 months later because they couldn't honor the loan mod. Guess what? They're going to have to liquidate the property. Instead of just ignoring it or having them do it behind your back, go ahead and help them. Ask for a loan modification if that's something they want to do. Now, either they're going to say, oh, that'd be great, I can save my home, or they're going to say, you know what, I really don't want this home anymore. It's just too expensive. I can't afford it. It's been nothing but bad vibes and I want to move on. Remember, you're using this funnel, walking them through this process to get their story. Instead of just saying, hey, why are you behind in payments? Walking through saying, hey, listen, did you do a loan? Would you list a property? Do a loan modification? So we're at the loan modification part. Guys, do not ignore it. I promise you, if you ignore it, they'll do it behind your back. Knowing 65% of loan mods fail, you might as well engage it. It might be a lead 3 months down the road. Guys, you are in this for the long haul. 3 months is nothing. But if they try it and they exhaust it, they can't go back to it again. Okay? There's nothing more frustrating than working somebody in pre-foreclosure, spending 3 or 4 months with them, and then they do a loan mod. Get it out of the way. If that's what they want, they can do it. Doesn't mean you can't do some sort of creative deal when they do a loan mod. But when they do a loan mod, they have to follow the new terms. And the minute they miss one payment, they're kicked out of loan mod and they're automatically back in pre-foreclosure. So if 65% of them fail, you might as well be there, because if you build good rapport, you help them out, and it fails and they contact you a month or two down the road, you're the hero. Okay? They're not going to call another investor off the street. You spent the time. Rick, you told me how to do the loan mod. I knew what I was getting into, and I just realized I just can't afford the house anymore. So let's move forward. So now we've gone through the loan mod. Here's the next one. Talk about a short sale. What's a short sale? Short sale, real quick. Say if somebody owed $150,000 on a home, and now the home's only worth $130,000. You have to get permission from the bank to discount the mortgage to be able to sell it. Now, during really good market times like we're in now, most banks are just going to turn down the short sale. You actually have to have a legitimate reason for the short sale. Loss of job, loss of a spouse, some very, very big life event. And if you don't have it, you're not going to qualify. The reason I tell you this is because if you throw it out now, and they're not going to qualify for the short sale, which most likely they're not, is you have a reason to do it. Even if they qualify for the short sale, the bank still doesn't have to do it. But I promise you, someone's going to whisper in their ear, hey, do a short sale. Now, short sales were very prolific when the market was way down. So if the market's aggressive, there's very, very few short sales because the bank does not need to take a discount for it. You throw it out there, you offer it. Remember, you're offering solutions. You're trying to help them. So you offer it. Typically, what they'll do is give you feedback on why they can't do it, and this is the reason, and the house is bad, and so-and-so has happened. I can't afford it. I just didn't want to move on with my life, Rick. Excellent. Okay. So remember, you're trying to problem solve for them. You are not just going, hey, how much will you sell me your house? It's not that easy in pre-foreclosure. By the time you've asked all these questions, and they're really, all you are is offering suggest solutions, now you're in a position where you can truly help people out. So now take the information and you want to help. So here's the secret to helping out. By this time, you've decided if they're in an equity position or not in a good equity position. Why do you want to know that? If they have equity in the house, enough equity, you can make a good cash offer and you can instantly wholesale it. And you can move on about your normal business. Number two, if they don't have equity, then you can come up with a creative offer, typically what we call a subject to. I'm not going to go real deep into it, but if the terms of the loan are good and you can make it work in the market, then you can offer a subject to. Either one of them that you choose, you need to get one more key piece of information. So you get their word for it. You need to get a letter of authorization. And basically, it's a permission slip from the homeowner, which is your seller, to verify all the information you just talked about. And the two things you're looking for is you want to look and see what it takes to reinstate the loan. That's very, very important if you're going to do a subject to. And by the way, guys, subject to is just basically taking over their mortgage payments. And in its subject to in a pre-foreclosure, if they were behind 3 payments, say the payments were $1,500 a month, that means you would have to come up with $4,500 plus probably some penalties and late fees, and you could reinstate the loan and you could take it over if you choose to do that. The other part of the letter of authorization is you want to get a payoff. You want to find out how much is owed on the property, because a lot of homeowners, they'll confuse with, well, I'm behind 3 or 4 payments and I owe $180,000. You're like, well, do you owe $180,000 and plus the 3 payments, or is that all combined? And 9 times out of 10, they go, I really don't know. I'm just scared to death when the bank calls me. Remember, you're here to help. Here's where a lot of investors get it wrong. You do not want to get a letter of authorization to get the reinstatement and the payoff and verify all the loan information under your company. Okay? The best way to do that is reach out to your title company, get a letter of authorization. It's basically a permission slip that the title company can speak to the bank and they can process that information for you. Why do banks like that? They just feel like it's authentic. So if they get a letter of authorization from a title company, hey, I got Sally Smith here, the loan number, this date, and then she signs it. A lot of times they have to be notarized now. And now usually within 3 to 5 business days. So now you're going to gather all the notes you took from your seller. You eventually get your letter of authorization from your title company. And now you can wisely put an offer together. Either if it has equity, you can do an all cash offer, or you can put together a subject to offer based on how many payments are behind. And guys, this is the real secret in working with people with pre-foreclosure. It's up to you to walk them through a process to get their story instead of being on the offensive and attacking them and like, what's the least amount you take for the property? Is you walk them through these 4 or 5 steps I teach you on how to get their story, and they'll reveal the information. And what this does is it builds massive amounts of rapport. And the key is, guys, you have to earn their trust. And this single step right here, walking them through a process, will allow you to spend 45 minutes to an hour with them. Trust me, it's worth it. And if that loan mod fails or the short sale fails or they even try to list it, guess who they're going to call when it all falls through? And do you think you're going to have to sell them twice? No, they're not going to think of anybody else. It doesn't matter how much letters. Guys, you spend so much energy getting these leads. Put the time in, get their story, and earn their trust. And guys, remember, to get the best pre-foreclosure leads, go to listrei.com. It's just the easiest and fastest. You can go to the courthouse. You guys can go door knocking. But once you get these leads and you have the ability to get an appointment with them, if you can earn their trust and walk them through this process, you will stand out like no other. So you guys, tell me in the comments, do you actively pursue pre-foreclosures? And when you do you actually take the time to hear their story? Those of you that hear their story will build massive amounts of rapport and most importantly, solve the seller's problem, and you're going to earn their trust. So guys, tell me in the comments below what you think. Guys, this is Rick Ginn with Flip with Rick. Do me a favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button to continue to receive the absolute best information available on wholesaling on the internet today. Guys, I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next video.